ask from our Shaykh, from our Efendi, to send something that is going to be useful. Everything is useful coming from him. Everything is useful because it is reminding us. Even if we've heard his words 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, he's saying nothing but saying here, say Allah, 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 that we've heard millions and millions of times. It is still a reminder, it is still something, it is everything. Alhamdulillah. We are not luxury people to look for luxury in this dunya and to look for luxury in spirituality also. You understand? We just want to be nice. It comes, it comes. It goes, it goes. Things that are good too, we say, this is it. You say, I'm sick and tired from this one also. I'll run to this. So you have a question? Say.
What is the reason that after Holy Prophet passed, there was nobody like Paul of Tarsus that came into Islam?
You're saying, what is it? Speak louder, bruh, so everyone can hear.
What is the reason that after Holy Prophet passed that...
You go. You, Sam. This one is immigrant. He doesn't know English. So I'm immigrant too, so I have a right to say. You immigrant? Huh. Why are you immigrant? It's a safe answer. That's not. Why you? Who is immigrant? You're immigrant? Why are you immigrant? Huh? You? Are you immigrant? Why are you immigrant? Because we're not from here. We came from somewhere and we're going back. So, remember that. If you're an immigrant, you're never comfortable. Correct or no? Never come. You lived there 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. It's not your home. You made it your home by force anyway, like this and like that. It doesn't feel the same. Air is different. Smile is different. Water is different. The looks is different. You always feel like believer must feel like that. If the believer feels that it's comfortable in this world, something is wrong. Your heart is already attached to that. The heart has already forgotten our original home that we came from. It's forgotten. You're immigrant because you're always remembering how it is, or you're always comparing. Believer must. So, say the question again.
I'm asking, what is the reason that in Islam, especially after Holy Prophet passed, that there's nobody like Paul of Tarsus who came into Islam corrupting the teachings?
We're asking our Shaykh to send us something that is going to help us, inshallah. Because this question is necessary not only for history, but is necessary for what is happening to us now, to take lesson from it. All earlier prophets, whatever that they have done, whatever that their nations have done, it is a lesson in front of us, and Allah is giving us a command to learn from that. So after Isa alayhi salam had passed from this world, he didn't pass from this world, he didn't die, he wasn't nailed on the cross. I won't be surprised now if there are so many Muslims now, they're so liberal, they're so lovey-dovey with other things. They say, oh, it's okay. Who are you to judge? Right? They're going to take the ayat from the Quran and they're going to twist it so many ways. They're already doing that. So back to your questions, why they didn't twist? We'll come back to that. So Isa alayhi salam, one of the greatest prophets, Ruhullah, sent not to the whole world. He's going to be sent to the whole world only as an Ahl of the nation of Muhammad ﷺ, as an awliya. But as a prophet, he was only sent to his people, the Bani Israel. One of the greatest prophets that is sharing only a short distance of time between him and the beloved of Allah, which is his beloved too. Isa alayhi salam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lifted the angels to the first paradises, and he's still waiting there until Ahir Zaman, the end of times, that he's going to descend. He's there, he's still there, and he's still waiting. And the time is very near. He's preparing to come down with angels. Still, one of the greatest prophets of Allah, sent to, you may say, one of the greatest nations, no? It is. It was a very great nation. And that nation at that time, it had power. Did it have power? Let me test you. Did it have power or no? It takes so long to answer. Their own king was ruling, although he was under the Romans, but he was given power. Herod. Correct? Were they allowed to worship? Yes. Were they allowed to live their own lifestyle? Yes. Were they living and worshipping according to what was revealed to them? Yes. According to what? The Shariat. According to the laws, they were keeping everything properly. That later, even after Isa alayhi salam, when they came and they destroyed everything, they destroyed the temple. And when the soldiers are coming to destroy, killing everyone, those ones who are in charge of making sacrifices, they didn't stop. They were still making sacrifices, still reciting, and they came and they finished everyone. From that time until today, there was no permission for them to worship Allah properly. Because for them too, you cannot worship unless you are in a temple. Islam is the only religion that says you can worship anywhere. I'm talking about worship. I'm not talking about supplication or dua. Same thing with Christianity too. He was sent, great prophet, to one of the greatest nations. And he only had 12 followers. 12. Not 13, maybe. 13th one was not a follower. 12. By the conditions of the world, he was a complete failure. He only had 12 followers when he left. Let me rephrase that. When he was in the garden, in the time of, I believe it was the time of Tahajjud, no? All night he was worshipping. Time of Tahajjud he was worshipping. He was making prostration to Allah. He wasn't making prostration to himself. He was making prostration to Allah. And he's saying to the Sahabis, to his companions, just stay awake. Keep guard for me, because those animals, they're going to come. I'm going to worship. All of them fell asleep. All of them. We remember those days, Shaykh Efendi makes us to stay awake 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, night after night after night. Remember? Don't worry, those days are going to come again. We have to learn how to stay awake. Not just spiritually or with your body too, because some people, they can be awake, they are very sharp. But just to tell, no, you cannot sleep now, very difficult for them. And Isa alayhi salam, in their own books, saying to his representative, to his Khalifah, who was that? Peter. That's not that's his Roman name, coming from rock. Right? That's why he's saying, through you I'm going to build the rock, the Catholic Church following from that. Although other churches taking from other companions also. Like from India, they're taking different one. St. Thomas, I think, directly. And he's saying to that one, you're going to betray me, you're going to deny me 3 times. Before the morning rooster crows, before Fajr enters, 3 times you're going to deny me. And he did. When the Romans, they came and they said, do you know him? He said, I don't know. 3 times. Said, do you know him? I don't know him. Do you know him? I don't know him. Shaykh Efendi went through all of this, no? When he was in Turkey and when he was arrested and when he had to go for trial, he went through this. That so many of the murids that were there surrounding him, saying, I love you, I will die for you, anything I will. Later, those shaitans, they came, and every one of those shaitans, now they all fell. From the judges to everyone, they fell. The laws changed because of Shaykh Efendi in Turkey. After Shaykh Efendi was arrested, everyone said, I don't know him. In court, they all testified. May Allah not test us. Don't ever think that, oh, we're going to be better. But we hope to be better than that. Well, if you're not testing yourself now, how are you going to test yourself later? You're going to fail. So Isa alayhi salam, after he left, he was taken. Big confusion that happened. The looks, the heads, the faces was changed between Isa alayhi salam and Judas. They took him and they nailed him on the cross. Up to today, Christians worshiping to him. This. At least bring him down a little bit. 2,000 years, long time. One man came. This man is like, for today's understanding, he's like a secular, liberal Muslim. Okay? You know, not doing anything Islamic, not having a life, not believing, being completely anti to Islam. Okay? Then read a couple of books here, couple of ayats here, suddenly going on YouTube and becoming very famous. So many like that, right? Okay? But you see, they are changing everything. So this Hellenized Jew, his name is Saul, his name is not Paul, his name is Saul, from Tarsus, claiming he had a vision. Jesus came to him, said, why are you doing this? Then he woke up, then he said, I'm following him. I'm the 13th disciple, because he's never met Isa alayhi salam. Even Judas has met Isa alayhi salam. So now he's claiming so many things. He's very well connected. He knows people, he knows their customs, he knows their language and everything. Now he's taking the teachings then of Isa alayhi salam and he's rebranding it, and a lot of people are buying it. Because he's saying, no need Shariat of Musa alayhi salam. You don't need the laws, you just need the spirit. So a lot of people say, this is easy, we can do this. And so many of Isa alayhi salam's Hawariyun, his companions, saying that this is not what our master, Mawla, our Mawlana, taught us. They split. Especially, say, Barnabas, Hazrat Ali, split from him, saying we don't know him. That for Barnabas, Isa alayhi salam openly say there was only a couple of sentences in the Bible where Isa alayhi salam himself, his words are there. Okay? Just a few sentences in the whole Bible. He's saying, wherever he is, welcome him, he's saying. Meaning, wherever he is, accept him. I'm giving my stamp now. He's the one who's representing me. He didn't say that of Paul. Never. If Paul knew Isa alayhi salam so well, why doesn't Isa alayhi salam know Paul? Wouldn't Isa alayhi salam say, there's one going to come later? You never met him, but he's going to have more understanding and you're supposed to follow him. Did he? Didn't. Big question mark there. So he took and he changed everything. Now you're saying, why in Islam? It never happened. Let me tell you something. And you're saying, right after the Holy Prophet ﷺ, he passed. You think they didn't try? You think the shaitans, they didn't try? There's not one Paul. There were so many Pauls after the Holy Prophet ﷺ passed. There were so many prophets who came. Forget about a disciple. Paul, at least, he was not claiming to be reincarnation of Jesus or whatever, right? But there are so many prophets who came, claiming that they are prophets, men and women. You think that was the only time, during the time of, say, Khulafa Rashidin, that there were people claiming, that saying, we are the ones with the lost teachings, with the real teachings, with the inner teachings, that all of you lost? You think that was the only time? No. From that time, it continued, and it continued, and it continued for over 1,400 years. There's always been people who are claiming, like it is today. I'm talking about the Islamic tradition. Are there people now in the Islamic tradition claiming that they are prophets? Yes, there are. The most famous ones, it's only famous because everybody sort of like spoke the same language that time, and the British were supporting him. Who was he? Qadian. That one from Qadian. I'm not even going to mention his name. Yeah? He's claiming there is a prophet, correct? Those extreme Shias. Oh, forget about prophets. Some of them claiming they're in the incarnation of Allah. Correct or no? There's still not that time, not that crazy one ruling Egypt at that time, claiming that he is Allah. Not only that time, even today, those al-Hanis, they claim this, that they are directly descended from Allah, not from Prophet. They finished that long time ago, they say. Correct? They're supposed to be the incarnation of the divine. The divine made flesh. So many now, you're going to see, like Shaykh Efendi says, there's so many Mahdis also coming up. There's one in Pennsylvania. One in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Sharif, they're going to call. It has to be. If Mahdi alayhi salam is there, you have to call it Pennsylvania Sharif. He's claiming to be Mahdi. He's not Mahdi. If he's not Mahdi alayhi salam, he must be agent of Dajjal. And following Dajjal, Dajjal is first going to say, I'm a prophet. Then he's going to say what? I'm Allah. You understand? So there have always been so many. So many. But how come it didn't fall the same way? Leave the last 150 years since not even 150 years since we had the Khilafat, which is the fall of the Khilafat, less than 100 years. Leave the last 100 years, okay? 100 years did it finish when the Khilafat was veiled? It didn't finish, right? I'm not talking about last ruling Khalifah. Okay, so has to be not even 100 years, okay? So let's say for 1,300 years, there's been what? So many creeping up, popping up here and there. Don't say, oh, it's only with the Shias. Yeah, in the Sunnis also, yeah. Correct? Don't say it's only Sunni. Within those ones who call themselves Sufis also. Correct or no? But why it didn't fall into the same way as Christianity, that it's completely, just complete turning upside down. Because of what? Because of Khalifah. That's all. How did Christianity become powerful in this world? How did it become a force that was only from a minority group of people, from a minority race of people in this whole world? Correct or not? How did it become most powerful? How? Because of Constantine. When the ruler of, where? Byzantium, he adopted Christianity to be the state religion. He held the council. He organized the religion. Okay, we only allow these books, not these books. These type of Christians, not this type of Christian. You understand? These kinds of rituals, not this kind of rituals. He set everything, which again is overturning everything. Because Isa alayhi salam brought Sufism, he brought tariqat. And tariqat, every one of you have met Shaykh Efendi. Now, for example, now you go to another place and people have never met Shaykh. He says, tell us something. You're going to tell according to what is put in your heart. Correct? According to what you know. Maybe you know a little bit, maybe you know more, maybe you know the most. It doesn't matter. Now each one is according to that, and you're going to remember the words according to that. Now, after some time have passed, people who are not understanding properly, they start fighting. Someone is going to say, now we have to organize because everyone is fighting with themselves. They say, now we're going to accept this, we're not going to accept that. When that was done with the Emperor Constantine, that's when Christianity started ruling and spreading. Because they were already ruling the world. Rome was already ruling the world. Then when it spread, people started accepting it. Meaning what? It became powerful through Khilafat, through rulership. When there is no rulership, there is no power. So now, there is no Khalifah. There is no power in Islam. There is always power in Islam, no power with the Muslims. No power with the Muslims. 2 billion Muslims, we cannot do nothing. There are more Muslim governments, Muslim countries, they can't do anything. Sultan Abdul Hamid Khan, he was one man. He stood up when all of Europe was insulting to the Holy Prophet ﷺ. In these lowest times, the Ottoman Empire was able to have that power, was able to put the fear of Allah even in the unbelievers. What about the believers? Understand? Saying, if you don't stop this, you're going to hear the hoof steps of my horses in the streets of Paris. We never insult your prophet. Why are you doing this to our prophet? Stop this. Now, 2 billion Muslims with all your education, all your money, that the Muslims have the most money in the world. That even Europe now, if they are rich, it's because they piggyback on the wealth of the Muslims. Where is that oil coming from? Huh? Muslim countries. Because those ones, they sold out. The British took Muslim money because Islam was ruling in India, in Hind, and it squeezed everything out. India, at that time in the 1700s, the total GDP of the whole world, it was having 27%. 27%. Do you understand this? And when the British left, 150 years later, 200 years, let's say 200 years, it was less than 0.003%. Something like that. Yeah, even if it's 3%, it's very bad. So they put everything there and they started rising. So we have no more power because there is no Khilafat. And the Khilafat with that power is able to protect. You understand? Without that power, there is no protection. Prophet ﷺ, Islam was spreading in Mecca. When did the Muslims become strong? When not only he went to Medina, he ruled Medina. They don't want to say that too many times because it's supposed to be democracy. Understand? Prophet ﷺ ruled Medina. He was a sultan without all the unnecessary trappings of a sultan. Correct? And the obedience and the love that the people had for him is more than those unbeliever envoys that they came and they saw. They said, we've never seen this kind of love and obedience. We've been in the palaces of Caesar, of Kisra, of Firaun, of all these rulers in the world, but we never see this kind of love, this kind of obedience. That's why he is the Sultan of the Sultans. And the Muslims became powerful, spreading Islam because of that. Go to sleep. Stand, go. I'm being tyrant, forcing people. Astaghfirullah. See? Shaitan is always there to break you. If you're not fighting back, you're not taking precaution, you're not being alert, you become broken. Then you say, why me? Two billion Muslims now, headless, heedless, humiliated. Stubborn, arrogant, still not waking up, not taking lesson from prophets and nations. The end is not good. The end is not good for us. If this continues like this, the end is not going to be good for us. Everyone is talking about Mahdi alayhi salam. Mahdi alayhi salam is coming to punish. Who do you think he's going to punish first? So many people, they're so blind. They say, oh, he's going to punish first the Jews, Christians, West, this, that. No. First, he's going to punish those ones who call themselves Muslims. Who are they? 70,000 scholars. 70,000 scholars in this nation. He's going to, he said, these heads, they're no good. Take those heads off. Those 70,000 scholars, you think they're just 70,000 scholars? No, they have hundreds and thousands of people following them. Correct? So this is, they're trying, but things have been settled for over 1,000 years. They cannot just change it like that. Are they trying every year, every month, every day they're trying to remove even the pillars of Islam, correct? May Allah keep us in safety, inshallah. Safety in our faith. This world like this or like that, we're going to pass. That's why it is important. The most important thing after the Khalifah, Sultan Abdul Hamid Khan, he was removed from office. All the alims and all the ulamas in the whole world, they got together and they say, now it is farz for everyone to make dua, asking Allah for a Khalifah to replace him. Correct? They say this is the most tragic, the most serious thing that has ever happened. Not even since the time of the Prophet passing away. They all got together. They couldn't do anything because there's already confusion inside. And slowly, people start forgetting. Slowly, they say, what? Life goes on. And now, who is calling for a Khalifah? Oh. Some nations here and there, but they have different agendas also. May Allah keep us in safety, inshallah. May Allah forgive me and bless you. Al-Fatiha. Amen.